Ball Xenoverse 3, a lot of things have changed. If you want to watch my initial playthrough and how I was reacting in the moment, that'll be linked down below. But in this video, we're going to go over all of the pros, cons, and concerns that I have for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. We're going to do 7 of each because, you know, 7 Dragon Balls. So the basis of how this list is going to work is we're going to do a pro, then we're going to do a con, and then we're going to do like a concern, something that I would need more testing. I would need to see this in like PvP, basically a gray area as well. So almost like good, bad, and in between. We'll see. It could go either way. But I'm not going to waste more of your time. Let's start with the first pro, the boost dash mechanic. In my short experience with the demo, I found the boost dash mechanic to be a really cool addition. It makes combo extensions a little easy. Maybe some people are gonna feel away because like maybe it feels too easy, but I had a lot of fun with it. It felt good. I was a little concerned about it. I was like, is this just gonna be like Fighter Super Dash, but in like a 3D arena fighter? But it felt very similar to almost like, and not exactly the same, but I think Storm had a mechanic where like you could just dash directly at your opponent. Like I don't remember the exact input, but like you could press something to dash directly to your opponent and it would like hone in on them, and you could extend combos that way. So you could do a quick little knock up and then you'd click whatever that button is. I forgot, sorry, I'm not a Stormhead. And then you would dash right up to them and you could continue that combo. It felt like that, but obviously at the cost of your stamina and stuff like that. So for me, at least early impressions, again, I've only played the demo. If in the future this game comes out and we're like, boost chase is ass, don't hold my word to this. All of my opinions could change. But from my early experiences, I thought the boost chase was really cool. Now let's get to our first con. And yes, we're gonna do pro, con, in between, pro, con, in between. We're just gonna do it like that. My first con is flight. Flight felt really weird, okay? Being able to fly up and down, and it felt really stiff. Basically, the only way that I could fly up or down was by adjusting my camera angle. So like if I'm dashing around, obviously with Xenoverse 2, pretty easy. You could kind of freely just go up and down as you're flying around, regardless of whether you're locked on or not. In Xenoverse 3, however, if I was locked onto an opponent, I couldn't really fly downward. I had to like lock off, use the R stick to move my camera angle up. So basically I would fly in the direction that my camera is facing. So if I had the camera going up, then I could fly down. And if I had the camera going down, then I could fly up. It just felt really weird. I wasn't a huge fan of that. There is a button to ascend. So the X button on PlayStation or A on Xbox or whatever, I could fly upward. Similar to Xenoverse 2, like you tap X, you could jump up. So that didn't change. But in order to go down, I had to like, if I wasn't locked on, I could either just tap X and then you would just kind of like fall, or I had to do that weird thing with the camera angle, which was interesting. Wasn't a huge fan of that. I'm calling that a con, at least based off of my early impressions. And then our first needs more testing gray area, whatever this section is called, is the UI always being on the screen. So what I mean by that is maybe I have to just get used to it. I will say, obviously, all of the attack instructions and how to play is a demo only thing. This is 99, like this isn't just gonna always be on the screen, this part. But having the L2, R2 thing always on the screen, it's different. It's different from Xenoverse 2 because in Xenoverse 2, you would have to tap and hold R2, then those attacks would populate onto the screen and you could see them. And when you hear that, you might be like, well, why isn't that just a con? Like, it's kind of ugly. I didn't really think about this, but because of the fact that we have cooldowns in this game, being able to monitor our attacks and like what the cooldown is at a glance instead of having to like tap a button to then check, kind of good, I guess, for a game like this. Like any other game that uses cooldowns, it's always on the screen. So you can always visually see whether or not you have access to that move. But I think it's a gray area because I could really go either way on this. Like maybe if they just made it look a little sleeker, like maybe if it was off more to the side, maybe we just had a customizable option like in the settings to say, hey, I don't want this always on my screen, or hey, it's on my screen by default, but maybe I can, you know, turn it off, something like that. Just give us the freedom to choose how we want this thing to look, I guess. Gray area for now. All right, now we're gonna swing back to the pro section, and this one is more or less cosmetic, but let's face it, a lot of people, when it comes to Dragon Ball games, if it looks cool, you gotta ship it. Transformation animations. Now, for all we know, just the Super Saiyan animation looks cool, and all of the other ones are kind of boring. But all we have access to seeing so far from the demo is Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 3, and then obviously the soul change, which we'll touch on in this video at some point too. But whether you like the soul change or not, it's a transformation, and the animation to get to that point does look really good. You can't lie. Going Super Saiyan looks amazing. It's a direct reference to Vegeta going Super Saiyan against Broly, where the hair turned greenish first and then it went yellow. It looks amazing. Then it cuts to the like top down camera view, like when Goku went Super Saiyan. I don't know. It just looks really dope. Can't deny it. I mean, there's not much I need to say about this. And then Super Saiyan 3, you see the actual hair growing. Absolutely amazing. So transformation animations, that's a pro. Our next con, and by the way, these are not in any particular order. Like, I'm not saying like the first pro's the best of the best and the last pro's the worst of the worst. It's in random order. Next con is also touching on the UI, and that's going to be the stamina bar location and the overall UI as a whole. I know we already talked a little bit about like being able to toggle on or off whether our attacks pop up on the screen and stuff like that. I definitely prefer the stamina to be up by the health bar. I think it's a much easier eye grab. It's easier to just take a quick glance at versus always having to look at your character, but then you're always monitoring your cooldowns and stuff like that. I didn't like the stamina bar placement. And if they did stick with some form of that, hopefully, again, it's just something customizable. Like if the players want to have our stamina up by the health bar, we should be able to choose that. We should be able to just like manually be able to toggle where we want it. Just give us the freedom to decide where we want that stamina bar to be located. I don't think I hate it on the opponent, at least for fodder enemies. But when it comes to monitoring my own stamina, especially in particular instances, like if you're way below your opponent and they're way above you and you're, you know, arena fighters get these weird camera angles sometimes, and having to monitor your stamina in those moments might be a little tricky. So I'm gonna put that as a con for now. I think this could be better, and not to mention the numbers popping up. I don't know how I feel about that. But again, I think just give us settings, a lot of cool settings where we can just customize the game to look the way we want it to look. Our next gray area slash needs more testing, transformations healing. So when I first saw this, I was just gonna put this in the cons. Like, I did not like the idea of transformations healing. It just felt weird. It felt, you know, obviously way different from Xenoverse. It felt like the thank you Dragon Balls Z Soul from or Super Soul from Xenoverse 2, throw an ult and then get their health back. Like, now you just transform and get your health back. However, the only reason it's in the gray area is because, contrary to popular belief, I didn't know these people existed that much either, but there is a big PvE base who never touches PvP. So I'm anti this feature when it comes to PvP. Think about it. When we played Xenoverse 2, we would always toggle, or at least most of the PvP heads, we would toggle off the ability to use capsules to heal ourselves and stuff like that. Like, no, run it. Your health is what your health is. My health is what my health is. You know, let's fight. No healing, no senzu beans, which is why in PvP, I would put this more towards the con side. But in PvE, I could see this as a viable function to like heal ourselves, because yes, this is a demo, so we don't know for sure, but I don't know if we're gonna have access to like healing items mid-match anymore. Then this might be their way to supplement that by having us be able to heal whenever we transform. I have to understand that I'm coming from the bias of a PvP guy, so I don't want to like just put words in the mouths of, you know, a bunch of people who played PvE only. And the reason why I know these people existed is because I think one of the rarest trophies in Xenoverse 2 was play an online match, which is crazy. I don't know the exact percentage, but there's a lot of people who just played the story mode. They just played parallel quests. They never touched an online match. It shocked me too, but they're out there. So PvE heads, let me know what you think of the transformation healing. Our next pro is gonna be the quest gameplay loop. This one's a little iffy because we don't have a lot of information just yet as it pertains to how all of the quests are gonna look. But one of the most boring things to me in my personal Xenoverse 2 lifetime was having to grind parallel quests. So like unlock moves and stuff like that. So anything that adds a spark, makes those a little more fun, is a welcome for me. Because I was thinking about it, if this Xenoverse 3 demo or whatever was transported into Xenoverse 2, basically they stayed on one map, they fought like a few random sets of enemies and then a boss, right? In Xenoverse 2, all this would have been was like you load into the ice map, a wave of Nabanas and raspberries appear, you kill them. And then another wave of them appear with like one, or like, I guess it was robots in this one, but a bunch of little robots appear, you kill them, okay. And then another wave comes in, you kill them, okay. And then Broly flies in, and then you gotta fight Broly. You know what I mean? You just wait for the waves and waves of enemies to come in. In this, you're going from like point to point to point. It's like mission areas. You're going from point to point, fighting the little enemies, a little mob, going on to the next set, fighting the little enemies, the mob, okay? And then fighting the next set. And then like you make your way, you're traversing through the map to get to the boss area. to fight Broly. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that has a lot of potential, especially with other maps, other enemies, when you're playing with your homies, with your friends and stuff like that, having to go to different mission points. I think that's a pro for me, but let me know what you guys think down below. And again, we have no idea. Maybe this is the only one that looks like this. We'll have to see how other quests look if they're similar. My next con, and this one is kind of big to me. Loss of attack slots, such as the evasive and a second ultimate attack. In Xenoverse 2, you had a separate category where you could access your transformations, you could access your evasives, and it didn't interfere with your 4 super attacks and your 2 ultimates. In Xenoverse 3, however, it looks like our evasive is going to have to take the place of one of our 4 super attacks. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. I found that having those 4 attacks were the sweet spot for me when it came to Xenoverse 2, at least. 4 attacks, and then you pick an evasive that's separate from those 4 attacks. I don't want my evasive to take up one of those slots, or like, God forbid, I forget to put an evasive on and I only have like, you know, damaging attacks, and then I just don't have an evasive. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I guess it could be something that I could adapt to. And I know a lot of people hate when I say stuff like that, but I'm just genuinely an open mind when it comes to a lot of these games. I don't just go into things negatively. Like, this one is a con for me, don't get me wrong. And then let's talk about the second ultimate. Obviously in Xenoverse 2, you had 2 ultimates to pick from. That added a lot of cool versatility depending on the situation. Like, you could have one ultimate be a super explosive way for like close quarters combat. You could have a second ultimate be like a, you know, a long range attack. It just depended on how you wanted to build your moveset, or you could combo one ult into another ult. There was a lot of cool things that you could do with having 2 ultimates. But now when you hit L2, you only have access to 1 ultimate attack, and the second ultimate attack is replaced by having an assist feature where you could call in your assist to, like, you know, help you extend a combo or something. Very similar to fighters when you call in an assist to extend a combo. Just give us, again, the free, I'm gonna say this a lot probably throughout this video, just give us the ability to choose. Like, if we want 2 ultimates instead of having the assist, let us do that. Or maybe just let us have a different menu that accesses 2 ultimates and we don't have to sacrifice the assist. I don't know. I don't think we should lose the ability to have 2 ults, because I personally liked having 2 ults. I liked having my evasive in a different slot. So this one's gonna be under con at the moment. Next one's gonna be in the gray area, and for a lot of people, I understand this is just a con right off the bat. This is just my opinion. It's gray area. It could be a con, it could be a pro, depending on how they move forward. The transformation timer. Look, I get it. In Xenoverse 2, we had infinite transformation. You transform into a Super Saiyan. You ain't never got to worry about losing Super Saiyan again unless you like get KO'd or something like that, which I never complained about. I was okay with that. I like that in Xenoverse 2. In Xenoverse 3, obviously, there's a time. Now, it's in gray area for me, because if it's locked at 60 seconds forever and there's nothing you can do about it ever, then I'm not a fan of this. This would probably be under con for me. However, Xenoverse was always about upgrading your character, making your character stronger, doing certain missions that would unlock a certain transformation, or doing a certain training, giving Whis a snack so you could like get higher levels. Basically, you're trying to grow your character, boost your attributes, all this, all that. If we could access the ability to boost that timer, because keep in mind, ranked matches, and it drove me crazy because I felt like 3 minutes wasn't enough a lot. I hated timeouts. Ranked matches were only 3 minutes long. So if we could boost that timer to get to like, and this is just an example, I'm just throwing this at the wall here, I'm not saying this is perfect, but if we could get that timer by end game to like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that, you're pretty much going to be transformed the entire time. Now, I know for PvE heads, maybe that's not enough, because if we have to have the timer, I think at least give us the ability to upgrade it, give us some agency over this, or hell, maybe by the end of the game, we can remove the timer altogether, like we master the form. Basically, you do the Cell Games 10-day challenge or something, like when Goku stayed Super Saiyan for the 10 days before the Cell Games, something similar to that to get us to master it. I don't know. Then it could be a flex, like, oh, you already ran out of steam. My Super Saiyan still has double the amount of time that you have, or something like that. Like you're fighting somebody and then they haven't mastered Super Saiyan yet. I think that could be fun. That could be a cool feature. It really just depends on how they move from here. But I do want to preface this with this, and we're gonna get into the soul change stuff. I promise you, just lock in. But keep in mind, we have to pick between Super Saiyan or soul change, okay? So they're trying to basically balance these two so they're on par with one another. So basically, if we advocate for Super Saiyan to be permanent, then they're gonna be like, well, we have this whole soul change thing, which needs to be balanced with Super Saiyan. Is Soul Change going to be permanent too? You know what I mean? So it's kind of a tricky spot for them, unless they just scrap Soul Change altogether. But it's just something to keep in mind, because it's not as simple as just saying like, we're going to make this permanent. Because if that's permanent, then Soul Change's got to be permanent. And then it's like, are you even playing your CAC when you just change it into another character permanently? I don't know. Or maybe there's a way to resource manage it to make it last longer. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. That's why it's gray area for me, because I think there's potential for this to be cool. It just needs to be executed correctly. Next for the pros list, unique raid boss mechanics. So keep in mind, I did not play this game enough for this to maybe be as accurate as I would like it to be. But when Broly against he was a raid boss, when Broly was firing these big blasts all over the place, it felt like there was dang near nothing I could do, okay? In Xenoverse 2, if I step vanish fast enough, I could dodge just about all of those little blasts. In Xenoverse 3, however, I don't know if step vanish is just a little weaker now, but when those hit, they hurt bad and they were unblockable. There wasn't anything that you could really do in terms of like your movement. But what you had to do is find an area on the map where you were hiding behind the glacier, so you could like use that as cover so you're not getting hit by the blast. Now, I know that at face value seems basic, but I think if they have other raid bosses in the future, like other, you know, Xenoverse 2 had giant characters. I don't know if Xenoverse 3 will or not, but if they have other raid boss mechanics that are kind of like unique, that you need a certain toolkit. And I know Xenoverse 2, like, you know, having Super Guard was like the go-to for some of these raid bosses, depending on who you were. But if they have other cool features that utilize the map assets, then I think that has a lot of potential for growth. So I like that they added that. And that's not the only cool thing that they did with the map stuff, but we'll get to that on our next pro. Next con is, I don't think I was able to grab. I don't think I saw any grab ability. I tried, I wasn't able to really pull it off. I don't know if there's a new way to do it, but grabbing was, no, with bad netcode, it was pretty annoying. But I mean, it's a fighting game. You have to have a grab. Like, people are just gonna turtle up. They're just gonna block, and there's nothing I can really do about it. I think you have to have a grab feature in this game. Maybe super attacks will have like command grab properties and stuff like that. But I do think just as a base, we need to be able to grab, okay? And again, maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed it. Preface, maybe I missed it. Maybe this con is worthless and I just didn't figure out how to grab. I don't think I was able to grab. So yeah, that's a con for me. That's scary. Because again, PvP, people block spamming and I can't grab. The next gray area is Soul Change and Soul Assist. Again, this is gonna be one that a lot of people just say it's a con, it's bad, don't like it, get rid of it, hop to. That's what a lot of people are gonna say. And here's the secret. I lean towards that for the most part, because when you boot up Xenoverse, you create your own character, you customize your look, you customize your moveset. You're not thinking like, wow, this would look so much better if I was base Trunks and had a completely different moveset and a completely different outfit. So this is one that I think might end up in the con list, but it's in gray area for now. Because on one hand, I do think the assist is kind of cool, like where you could tag in and extend your combo, almost like Dragon Ball Fighter style. I think that has a lot of cool potential. I'm sure all of them are gonna have different unique assists. So on that hand, I think that could have potential. And also, Xenoverse 2, we were always able to make multiple characters. Imagine, I don't know if this is true. I'm just, you know, wish list damn near. But imagine your assist could be another character that you made popping in with an attack, like another CAC that you made. That could be really cool. I doubt it. There's potential. But when it comes to the Soul Change itself, I try to walk into things with an optimistic perspective. And because I do that, a lot of people think that I'm just a glazer. Like, no, bro, you gotta be more pessimistic. You gotta be more negative. Nah, bro, that's a lame way to live. But I try to see the bright side. There was always the complaint of, you know, certain characters not having as many transformations as Saiyans, for example. Saiyans, we have Super Saiyan, we have Super Vegeta, we have Future Super Saiyan, we had Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, we had Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. So I think their idea for this is like, okay, like, your character can literally turn into whoever you want. I get why, because you want to give them more, you know, flexibility and freedom, but I don't think this is the way to do that. I think you just gotta, you know, get in your creative bag a little bit when it comes to the Earthlings or other races that aren't Saiyans. So yeah, I'll slot it into gray area with like a leniency towards con, but I'll give it a little more time and we'll see where things go. I hinted at this with the last pro, and we'll have to see how much they've done with this, or if this is just like a one-off thing with Broly. But unique animations based off of your location on the map. What do I mean? So we've all seen it a million times. Broly has this grab where he'll like slam you on the ground, boom, 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 Hulk style, and then like, you know, throw you away. However, I was up against the wall when Broly did this, and the animation changed. He grabbed my face, and instead of just throwing me away, he put my face in the wall like he did Goku and smeared my face through the ice. That's crazy. That's really, I don't know. Maybe, am I too excited? That's dope. Because that just makes me think of how many other moves did they do that with? You know what I mean? Like now it's like you got to test moves in the center of the map, and then you also have to test moves over on the side on the map to see if something else happens. Or maybe things happen differently when you're at the top of the map versus when you're at the bottom of the map. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of different characters that have cool moves that could interact with the maps differently depending on where you're at. So I think this one has a lot of potential. I was really happy to see it. I thought it was really cool. I don't know. I'm just excited to see how they expand upon that and what they do with that. All right, that was pro number 5. Here's con number 5. And again, maybe I didn't figure out how to do it, but no double homing dash. What that is, or at least that's what I call it. I don't even know if that's what it's supposed to be called, but the ability to like quickly loop around your opponent. Let's say, for example, in Xenoverse 2, the Xenoverse 2 heads know what I'm talking about. They're charging up an ultimate. You could double homing dash, loop right behind them, and then break their stamina. Or if they weren't doing that, you could just, you know, knock them back. I wasn't able to figure out how to do that. Maybe there's a way to do that, but I think also just being able to like close the gap easier than just using the boost chase every single time is something that I think is important, especially if we get to the point where people are, you know, throwing out ultimates randomly. I don't know if we can still break stamina off of those. I probably should have tested that, but Broly kind of had, you know, I don't know, he was a raid boss. I just didn't think I could do it. I should have tried that. But yeah, that was kind of the go-to to like check people for, you know, spamming ultimates and stuff like that. So I think that's something that's a little scary if we're not able to do that. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Maybe we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way, Xenoverse 1 style, just dodge it, make sure you're close, and then charge it or something like that. But we'll see. It's on cons for now because losing mobility when we're trying to take the next step in the evolution, not usually a good thing. Next gray area is going to be the key break, stamina break thing in general. So as you guys know, in Xenoverse 2, you could just break people's stamina, okay? You would just do the stamina break after a combo, and I actually had a lot of fun with that. I had fun when a new character was released and you would have to like learn the combo route and figure out where to like place the stamina break so it would actually connect properly. I thought that was a lot of fun every time they dropped the character to like discover that. But now it is a little more simplified. It's a little more dumbed down, where it's similar to like a Souls game or like a God of War, where you just have to continuously hit your opponent until their stamina depletes down to 0, and then they get their stamina broken. So there's no intricate combo or anything like that that forces it. You just have to like keep fighting, and then eventually they'll get they're calling it a key break, but you know, I'm so Xenoverse 2 brained, it's a stamina break in my head, but same functionality, where they're basically vulnerable, and then you can go into like a cool animation and, you know, punish them for getting their stamina broken. It's in gray area because it felt okay in PvE. I did have to adjust my muscle memory to like get used to monitoring my own stamina, because if it got low and then I got punched like twice, then my key would be broken. But against the fodder enemies, it felt fine. It felt, you know, rewarding. I didn't have to do any intricate thing to break their stamina. I was just, you know, keep punching them and then they die, and they're fodder enemies, so it's like, who cares? But I think in PvP, this would lean the wrong way for me, but I haven't played PvP, and honestly, just like my opinions with the Xenoverse 3 demo, until I've experienced it and played it, it's really hard for me to have a concrete opinion one way or another. I don't love the sound of it at first glance, but for all I know, I play against somebody and it's actually really fun, like managing that resource and like trying to keep my stamina up, trying to beat them up, keep the pressure on until they get their key broken and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it could be cool, but I just don't know yet. So that's why I have to slot it in gray area for now, but we'll see where it goes. Another pro, this one also leans towards the cosmetic side, just a lot more customization options. I think the customization options has already shown itself to be on a whole other level than Xenoverse 2 cosmetically, and then also a lot of things in game, although we have lost some things in game that we talked about. But in game, for example, instead of all characters just fighting like their race, like, oh, I'm a Saiyan, so I fight like this. kick, or the male earthling, the square triangle route, and then the hey-ya. Basically, you knew exactly what the combos were gonna look like for every single character as long as you understood what race they were. In Xenoverse 3, however, you can choose how your character fights, like his combo animations, his combo routes and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And I haven't even touched on all the customization thing is so broad. Body sizes, we have been confirmed, and again, for lack of better words, you could be a fat dude. We've seen Tap, you could be like a tiny little guy. And I don't know if we can build a guy that looks exactly like the friend in the trailer, but this guy looked like a, you know, buff, ripped sort of build. So I think that's really exciting that you can potentially create your character to look like any of these. But I don't know, either way, more body sizes, because in Xenoverse 2, you know, it was just skinny, slightly wider version of the skinny guy, and then widest version of skinny guy. It wasn't really any variance when it came to the aesthetics of how your body looked. And I think this is just a drop in the ocean compared to how much more we have yet to see when it comes to customization. But so far from what I've seen, I'm excited when it comes to creating and being able to make the most unique character that doesn't look the exact same as these other guys in the future. So that's a pro. Next con is gonna just be beams after follow-ups. In Xenoverse 2, and even in Sparking, once you do a knockback, that was kind of like the arena fighter brain would turn on and be like, okay, I did a knockback, I gotta be able to fire a beam afterwards. Like you knock them back and then launch a beam at them. At least that's where my brain goes. But in Xenoverse 3, it felt a little weird. I hope this is just a demo thing, because I would knock them back and like sometimes they would go upward and my guy would just fire the beam forward. So he would basically be locked on to firing the beam at where the opponent was when I started the beam animation, not where they were at after the knockback, if that makes sense. So yeah, they got to tweak that. My next gray area is going to be, why did this enemy have super armor when he was launching a super attack? That was weird. That was weird. That was strange. Why does he have that? It's in gray area because I don't know if this is a one-off thing. I don't know if this works for all super attacks. I've experienced it literally that one time. And I think for some enemies, it probably would be okay. Like if it's like a raid boss or something, or like a big guy, so we can't just like mindlessly just keep swinging. I don't know. It could add some difficulty factor to it, I guess. But for fodder enemies, yeah, if this was all fodder enemies and it's all super attacks on every fodder enemy that I should be able to just blow up and destroy, then yeah, this would be a con. But I say needs more testing because I really have to see where else it's applied, how it's applied, and like what the logic is. God forbid if this is a PvP thing. If in PvP we have super armor when we're launching super attacks, God help us all when somebody finds key explosion or something. I don't know. That's I'm not gonna lie, my last pro was customizable combo strings. I accidentally mixed it with the other customization options. I was just gonna talk about like the cosmetic customization options on that last point, but I ended up tying in the custom combo strings already. So that was the 7th pro that I had. So I'll just make up a different pro. The hub world. The hub world looked really cool. Obviously there was a lot of invisible walls, so we didn't get to see all of it, but it looked absolutely massive. Looked like there was a lot of exploring that I could do, a lot of character interactions. And again, I'm just throwing this in there just so we have a backup 7th pro. I'm not gonna lie, accidentally mixed the 2 pros together on that last one. So that's the last of the pros for now. Last of the cons isn't that big of a deal, but it annoyed me. There's no ultimate indicator. And what I mean by that is normally when your opponent was about to do like a really big move, they would have a slide on the side of the screen where their face would pop up, basically indicating like, hey, this guy's about to do something big, watch out, sort of thing. And it was like a quick visual cue to kind of like tell you, go break his stamina, get ready to dodge, get ready to block, whatever the situation may be, just watch out. Against Broly, he would fire these ults and you didn't really get indication that he was gonna do that, or like he would go into like these different phases and modes where, you know, there was one indication where like it would cut to him like yelling before he pop all over the screen. But before he launched his big ult, I think it would just be cool to reintroduce or keep that slide in from the old Xenoverse games. I don't think there's any reason to take that out. I would put that back in. And our final gray area is just going to be cooldowns in general. I've seen the comments and trust me, I liked how Xenoverse 2 worked. Like it wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong. There was the ability to abuse some certain things, you know, abuse the string of moves over and over and over again. But I don't think it was too bad to the point where they needed to like get rid of the ability to do that altogether. Basically, a lot of people have been saying resource management is greater than timer. or cooldowns. And I completely understand where you guys are coming from because, again, you're talking to one of the biggest Xenoverse 2 fans ever. I never stopped playing the game, so you don't have to convince me. While I am open-minded to the cooldown thing in general, I do think I would have to play this with PvP. Like, a lot of these things in the gray area are specifically in the gray area because I don't know what this looks like in PvP yet. Like it felt fine. It felt fine in PvE, felt fine against like the bots and stuff like that. But until I play another human being and we're both trying to like find the cheap stuff and try to like abuse certain things, it's hard to say what feels too weak, what feels lackluster, what feels fun, what feels broken, what feels perfect. It's hard for me to say that when I've only fought like the little guy. So it's in gray area for now for me, but obviously that comment section is for you guys to share your thoughts on all of the things that I've said. Well, that was 7 of each. These were some of the goods, the bads, the concerns that I took away from my Xenoverse 3 demo experience. My final takeaway is this: Xenoverse 3 is trying to appeal to both the PvE and the PvP crowd, which is really a tough line to walk. Maybe some of these questionable or interesting changes could lead to a more balanced experience for PvP. Key canceling doesn't seem nearly as prevalent. It didn't really make anything on this list, but it didn't seem like it was as strong. Maybe cooldowns will prevent some of the mindless spamming. Despite this theoretical balance, no one wants it to be at the expense of their creative expression in combat. What made Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2's PvP so beloved by so many people was that very creative expression and freedom. Unique combo lines where you could see which super attacks blended with other super attacks and like chained together perfectly, that you would have no idea worked until somebody hit you with it, or you saw like a really cool clip. Discovering the stamina break route for a character that was just released. And yes, the creative, expressive freedom of even those annoying guys who created the most toxic builds to go online and just torment people. I did not like those people, but they were a part of our community, regretfully. Now, I'm not saying that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 has nothing to offer comparatively. I think the ceiling for this game is ridiculously high. What does the boost chase turn into? What moves are gonna look different on the ground versus on the side that is gonna alter the way that we build our combos based off of where we're fighting our opponent and where we're trying to like knock their body over to? The customization features, the way we're able to create our own unique combos depending on which character's combo strings we choose to grab. Then there's just facets to this game that we haven't seen yet that I'm very curious about, many of which we're just gonna have to sit back and wait to find out as these things steadily get revealed to us. And on that journey of waiting, I hope you choose to do that with me. Hit the subscribe button to do that, and we'll see what Xenoverse 3 has next. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.